balanced news and severe weather coverage. This is Fox 11 News Good Day Wisconsin.
The sky lit up last night as some powerful storms rolled through the area.
Some parts of the state are dealing with more flooding, and the wet weather is not finished yet.
Good morning, I'm Rachel Monick.
I'm Pete Petoniak.
And the Fox 11 Storm Chaser is out and about checking out some of the hardest hit areas. Lauren Khalil joins us live with more. Where are you, Lauren?
Good morning, Rachel. Good morning, everybody. We are on Park Ave in Fond du Lac. This is the road that the Public Works Department has been working on since we've been here all morning. This is the third area where they have these pumps that are draining the storm drains. And as you can see, the water is then flowing into the sidewalk drains. Now, the reason why they're doing this, it's more of preventative more than anything, is with all of the rain that we've had over the past 24 hours, the storm drains tend to get high. And then if they get too high, that's when people start to see flooding in their basements. So right now they're draining them to prevent any of that from happening. I spoke with the Fond du Lac County Sheriff's Department. They said that they haven't had any calls for any flooding when it comes to people's basements, anything like that. One area of concern in Fond du Lac County, though, is on I-41 heading southbound over by the Hickory Street exit. It is down to one lane because there is some high standing water. That is pretty much the only concern that we've seen when it comes to flooding this morning throughout the city of Fond du Lac. But we will continue to give you guys updates live on Good Day Wisconsin, as well as on our website, fox11online.com. And as Pete's been saying all morning long, make sure you download our Fox 11 weather app. We are expecting to have more storms later today, so we want to keep you guys up to date as much as possible. For now, I'm reporting live in Fond du Lac. I'm Lauren Khalil. We'll throw it back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Lauren. And let's show you that app. You can track the storms by getting it. It has many helpful features, including a live radar and hour-by-hour forecast. It is free to download in your app store. We do have breaking news from Green Bay's east side. Police are talking right now about the accident on I-43.
Just north of the Mason Street exit for a car versus pedestrian crash. As officers are arriving on scene, they quickly identified a victim and they called for county rescue. We have learned that that male victim has since been considered deceased. Officers then called in for other assistance to shut down the highway. In a situation where there involves a crash and a fatality, we have to have accident reconstruction come out, which accident reconstruction officers are on scene, processing the scene to try to put this back together to understand why this crash occurred. I-43 South is shut down, and we anticipate it to be shut down for approximately an hour to an hour and a half. We are asking the public and asking everybody that travels on I-43 to exit on University, to take Humboldt Road, to Huron, to Mason Street for an alternate route of travel this morning while reconstruction is putting this crash scene back together. This is a relatively new investigation. We have not identified the victim, nor has the victim's family been notified of this incident, so we cannot release the identity of the individual at this time. And we anticipate that the crash here, the reconstruction of this crash, will be approximately an hour and a half, and we encourage people to use that alternate route of travel.
Can you give us the age of the victim?
I don't know that, I'm sorry.
Okay. Is it an adult?
It is an adult, a male adult, yes.
Young adult?
That I don't know.
Okay. Circumstances about did the driver say that he walked out in front of me and I had no opportunity to avoid him? Or was it a suicide perhaps?
Well, based at this point in the investigation, the driver that hit the pedestrian is speaking with officers, and we're trying to understand how this crash occurred. So once the officers can relay that information back to me, I don't have that information at this time, but the driver is cooperating, and to really put this crash back together.
The driver, any injuries to them or anything?
Not that, no.
How was the state of the driver? Were they pretty shook up?
I didn't get a brief on the driver. But any time that there's a crash and there's a fatality, I mean, I think anybody would say that it is very traumatic for an individual who is put in that situation and encounters that, in a beautiful morning.
Now, you said this person was walking along 43 South. I know you're reconstructing it. I guess, should people be walking along such a busy highway to begin with?
Well, we have to really understand where the male victim was prior to the crash. And, we have some preliminary information, but we have to verify that with speaking to the driver of the crash of the vehicle that hit the pedestrian. So based on that, it's preliminary at best. But as a general rule, we don't encourage people to walk on a major highway like I-43. With traffic going north and southbound, traveling at well over 70, which is the speed limit, we just want them to be safe, remain with their vehicle, and call for assistance if they're broken down or in need of a medical assistance.
And right now, you don't know if he was in the road or if he was on the side. You don't know if it was right in the middle of the road, or do you know that?
No, we don't know exactly where the male victim was at this point. And that's what reconstruction is going to put this crash back together and understand. And it's going to be a very large-scale diagram of where and how this crash had occurred.
All right, so the next hour to 2 hours shut down.
Yep. And I really stress that alternate route of travel. This could be a huge inconvenience for people who normally travel on I-43 South, and we encourage them to get off University, go to Humboldt, to Huron, to Mason, back to I-43 South.
Have to ask, any indication that drugs or alcohol were involved?
Well, that's part of the investigation. We'll kind of understand and we'll look at that and investigate that. But at this point, I don't have any nay or yay on that.
Warwick updating us on the fatal accident on I-43 that happened earlier this morning. For updates, follow us throughout the day on fox11online.com.
And now let's get back to those storms and the stormy weather. The Fox 11 Storm Chaser is showing us, I should say, more of the storms. Lauren Khalil joins us now live with more. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning, Pete. Good morning, everybody. We have been checking out some of the flooding and problems that Fond du Lac has been facing. This is the sidewalk in front of one person's home in the downtown Fond du Lac area. You can see that their yard has a lot of standing water. Fortunately, no reports of any flooding inside anybody's homes, but this is what some of the yards look like. Right now, the City Public Works Department, they are working to drain those storm drains, or pump out the water rather, because water like this gets them filled up, and that's when people see flooding inside their homes, in their basements. As for the rest of the area here in Fond du Lac, we've been driving around, just seeing a lot of those drain pumps being drained out. Also, going southbound on 41 near Hickory Street, it is down to one lane because of some high standing water, but no huge problems that they're dealing with this morning. Again, we have been checking out just Fond du Lac this morning as they deal with last night's rain into this morning. But as Pete mentioned, this was only the beginning. We will be having more rain later tonight, so make sure you stay with us on fox11online.com and then download our Fox 11 weather app for live radar and the latest on conditions. For now, we're reporting live in Fond du Lac. I'm Lauren Khalil. We'll throw it back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Lauren. Another holiday weekend approaching. Law enforcement officers are reminding everyone not to drink and drive. That's right, it's Labor Day this Monday. Sunday in Menasha, police say a driver was under the influence when he crashed into a parked trailer. The incident happened during the department's Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign, and officials say they're always trying to make the roadways safer.
Looking for impaired drivers is always one of the most important things that we do, trying to keep people safe on the roadway, and anybody that's impaired is a danger to not only themselves, but more importantly, the other operators on our roadways.
The Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign continues through September 3rd. A Wisconsin-based pharmacy chain and the Department of Justice are promoting pouches they say can destroy prescription drugs. The state says these pouches can help keep unused prescription opioids from being used illegally.
We've got a great opportunity to keep going forward in Wisconsin to get these medications out of our homes, and we can prevent that diversion and abuse of these drugs and save lives and keep families into Wisconsin stronger.
The drug pouch will be available at hometown pharmacies in Wisconsin. The closest location is in Appleton.
Right now, Advil is recalling children's dosage cups on 4-ounce bottles of the bubblegum flavor. Pfizer says the bottles are incorrectly marked. The mistake could cause kids to accidentally overdose. The cup is marked in teaspoons. However, instructions on the label are described in milliliters. The specific lot being recalled is R51129. Happening today, Governor Scott Walker will be in Milwaukee to make what he calls a major announcement related to Wisconsin Valley. Just yesterday, Foxconn and UW-Madison announced a new partnership. Foxconn will be investing $100 million in engineering and innovation research at the innovation research at the university. It includes money for a new research facility for the College of Engineers on campus. The main location will be at the Wisconsin Valley Science and Technology Park near Racine. There will also be an off-campus presence in Madison.
Fox 11's Lauren Khalil is live in Fond du Lac County.
Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning, everybody. Right now, what looks to be a small pond or lake is actually part of the parking lot of Fleet Farm here in Fond du Lac that is flooded from all of the rain that we've been seeing. Now, we've been traveling throughout Fond du Lac most of the morning. Haven't seen anything as bad as this, but several inches of water that are standing here over on one of the sides of the Fleet Farm parking lot. Crews have been working all morning to drain the storm drains, pump out that water, put them in the sidewalk drains so that people's basements won't flood. We spoke to Fond du Lac County and they said that they didn't receive any phone calls of any issues like that, but the Public Works Department has been working around the clock to deal with some of these issues. At this point, I mean, water like this, not much that you can do. As for the weather here, much nicer than it was when we first arrived. It was pouring all morning. The sun's out now, but as Pete mentioned, don't let that be deceiving. We are expected to have more rain. Make sure you download our Fox 11 weather app. It has live radar and will keep you up to date with all of the storms that we have in our forecast. For now, we're reporting live in Fond du Lac. I'm Lauren Khalil. We'll throw it back to you guys in the studio.
Okay, thanks, Lauren.
The Green Bay area has lost one of its strongest advocates to suicide. As Fox 11's Robert Hornacek shows us, his family hopes his untimely death shines a light on depression.
I refuse to let this disease define who my brother was because he was so much more.
Jean and John Rivetti have tons of memories of their brother Jim.
He loved April Fools. He loved Halloween.
He meant so much to the community and to our lives as well.
Jim Rivetti made his mark in Green Bay, in the advertising world, and through his involvement in a variety of community causes.
See, they couldn't even eat at the front counter.
Fox 11 caught up with Rivetti in 2006, talking to school kids about racism.
We wanted to react to some of the negative things that were happening in the media.
Rivetti was the director of a documentary on the Jackie Nitschke Center, an alcohol and drug rehab center. He sat down with me in 2014 and explained how a chance encounter led to the film.
It came about from an experience where I found somebody in our office who was homeless and got into the bathroom, and then we raised some money to get him into the Jackie Nitschke Center.
Rivetti's family says that was simply how Jim operated.
He wanted to be a voice for people that didn't have a voice. He was very compassionate in that way.
And he really, truly cared about the Green Bay community, because he could have stayed in New York after he went on to more schooling out at the Arts Institute in New York. But he wanted to make a difference here. He felt that this is where he needed to be.
Family members say Jim was dealing with depression for the last few years, and while he was trying to get help, the battle ended last week when Jim died by suicide.
Our initial reaction was shock and anger, and to be honest, a little bit of shame. And we were going to keep silent, but we decided we're not going to let this disease of depression and anxiety define who he was, because he was so much more than the monsters that he fought in his head.
The Rivetti family plans to get involved with suicide prevention efforts.
That every death by suicide leaves a hole in people's lives all over our community.
Jeff Stroman is the chairman of the Brown County Coalition for Suicide Prevention.
If we reduce the stigma associated with talking about suicide or these mental health struggles and challenges that we all face, we'll see a decreased amount of suicide prevalence in our community and an increased level of hope.
We'll never fully know all of the reasons, but what we do know is that the light that my brother brought was far greater than this battle that he fought.
For those who knew and loved Jim Rivetti, answers may be elusive, but there's hope that somehow a message of light will pierce this time of darkness.
Don't judge people by the outside. I mean, get to know people by their inside.
Be kind to individuals. You never know what battles people are dealing with.
Jim Rivetti was 60 years old.
Fox 11 is teaming up with experts in the field to reduce the number of suicides in Northeast Wisconsin. For a list of resources, head to fox11online.com, click on the menu tab, scroll to On Fox 11, and click on Suicide Prevention. The next hour of Good Day Wisconsin starts now.